Hello, my fellow escapists, and today's video is going to be a little bit different than usual. Bell had the idea to hold an interview with me about some things that some of you guys might be interested in, and, just interesting questions, regarding, substance abuse that I've had in the past and, stuff like that. So let's get into that.
Hi, Mr. Simon.
Hello.
What helped guide you to your current sobriety?
I would say, being in a good relationship. And not just that, I would say being, somewhere so low can make you, it can make anyone, want to change. Like, once you've seen the end, you don't ever want to go back there. Some people, they stay there and they're content with that. Some people let their problems just overwhelm their entire life and, never get out of it. I mean, I've seen a lot of, people who just stay in that lifestyle and complain about it when they have all the tools at their disposal, which is everything you need is in your head. And they have all that, and yet they choose to stay in that, because I personally believe that addiction is not a disease. It's, it's all about impulse control, and I see it as a decision that becomes a mental fixation, as I've said in the past.
You speak of tools, so what would you say the tools are that you use to keep up your sobriety?
Creative, the creative process, making things, having a purpose is really important.
Okay. When would you say it all started becoming a problem for you?
After the death of my fiance, I just got out of control and, found anything I could to escape. I dabbled with a lot of drugs, heroin, stimulants, anything I can get my hands on to just not feel that pain. But I've learned that, you have to feel that pain. That's, there's a lot of people out there that's been through worse, and, they don't, they have to go through it. They don't get the pleasure of, they may have kids to take care of. They don't get the, to escape. So why should I,
Yeah. So you mentioned a couple of those drugs. What all did you try, and why did you go towards those things?
Like I said, heroin, opioids. My favorite specifically is morphine, 200 milligram pills. They're something that just makes your body, feel, it's an analgesic. It not only numbs your body, but it can numb your thoughts too. And it seems, it's just my DOC. It's pretty much just, my go-to whenever I did that kind of shit. And I have been diagnosed with ADHD. And so I've, been prescribed Adderall, and I never liked taking it as a kid. In fact, I was forced to take it as a kid and hated it. It made me feel like a zombie. And, because, normal people, when they take stimulants, it makes them feel really, up. For me, it just kind of made me feel normal. But that hatred I had for it turned into usage of stimulants. And, I would stay up for days on end, speedballing with Adderall and anything like that. And, I learned to like it. It was an acquired taste, so I got into that too. And, yeah.
Yeah, I remember you telling me the stories of, the force feeding of Adderall and everything. But who do you think actually started you into, taking drugs, or basically who gave you your drugs first?
It all began, you wouldn't believe that I actually nursed this addiction my whole life without even knowing it. I say this, but it's that addiction. It's gone, it's not, once you get out of it, you're out of it. But, anyone can fall into it. I don't think it, like I said, it's not a disease anyone can fall into. But I was, force-fed Adderall and Ritalin, other things, because I was told that I was a problem child as a kid. So they thought that instead of, trying to get me help, you know, my people in my family had, you know, made me take these things because they thought it would just be an easy fix. And, you know, I had access to it at the time where I wanted to escape whenever, you know, all these things happened to me. And I, you know, when I had the access to it, it was like, there you go, free drugs. So I guess it started there. But as far as obtaining the drug goes, like other drugs, like street drugs, you know, I ain't no dry snitch, so I can't tell you about that.
Dumbass. What are your thoughts about your addiction, like, nowadays?
I think that I was weak to ever, you know, like, stoop that low. And, but I'm glad that I had experienced, you know, the end to know what you can lose, and it makes you appreciate, you know, the things that you have.
Okay. Is there anything you would have done differently?
The whole thing. You know, if it was my mindset now, I would have handled it. You know, I would have went through the pain. I would have went to a therapist. But see, at the time, COVID was bad, and you know, I couldn't get a therapist appointment. You wouldn't believe it. It sounds like a cop out, but I genuinely could not get a therapy appointment at the time, and you know.
And we still can't. Yeah. What would you tell your future child if you had caught them experimenting like you had?
So yeah, there's of course like some biased empathy there, so I would definitely be a lot more lenient than a lot of parents would be in that situation. But you know, defense mode would set in, and I'd be like, I have to, you know, protect what's mine and make sure, you know, my kid doesn't end up like, you know, going down the path that I went down. So I would definitely put a stop to it right there, make sure they get help. I wouldn't just sit around and, you know, let it happen and under my nose. You know, I would make sure you see, I've been through it, so I could see the signs. I would make sure to stop it before it even happens. But if I did catch them, you know, somehow it slipped through the cracks, you know, I would get them as much help as they could get.
Well, that's awesome. What would you, or do you have anything that you would say to someone who right now is struggling through everything?
Man, I don't know. There's a lot of cliches that can be said, but all the cliches are true. It's, you know, you need to get help, and it's never the end. You know, see, the pain that like goes away with that drug, it's there whenever you wake up the next day. So basically, all you're doing, you're not going through a grieving process. You're not going through, you know, the motions. You're just putting your life on pause for how long you're in this binge. So it really isn't worth it.
Okay. Well, thank you, Simon, and I will have more interview questions later.
Thank you very much. Thank you guys for watching.